to every human being. And a contributor in the group also mentioned the point of Thomas Hobbes, a philosopher, who said that man is brutish, wicked, and egoistic. So as a result of this egoism in man, naturally he desires what his self-interest will want. At first instance, man does not pursue what the other man will want. He pursues what he himself will want. So it will take somebody like Ginger Kuzo, another philosopher, who will come up with the idea of the common will. The man has a personal will. Ginger Kuzo will talk of the common will. That is the common goal. And this is what religion and family seeks to address. And that is a way of bringing about peace and progress in the society. The fourth question, how does family orientation affect freedom of religion? We said if the family is authoritarian, it will affect the child. The same way if it is liberal or laissez-faire. Now, we gave that being authoritarian and liberal, they are quite manageable. But being laissez-faire affects the child in a negative way, because if the child has a laissez-faire orientation of relating with other persons and even religion, he can be swept away with any child. If he has a liberal orientation, he's able to accommodate other religions. And this is where we even have the ecumenism. For somebody who has an authoritarian ideology of religion, he cannot be open to ecumenism. That is, having to accommodate other religions. But if he has a liberal orientation towards religion, he will be able to accommodate other religions. I think that is why all of us we are here today. But for laissez-faire, it is dangerous because a child who has a laissez-faire orientation towards religion can easily be swept away by bad influences. And that takes us to the fifth question. What is the place of peer group influence in freedom of religion? Evil communications corrupts good manners. So a child who does not have a strong orientation about religion and about how to do things, even somebody that is underage, be it a person of 30 years old, a child of 20 years old can still confuse the person to do something that will be wrong, or confuse the person to follow another religion. I know it is not everything that is religious that is, but I should not delve into that aspect now. The second reason for in the place of peer group influence in freedom of religion is concupiscence. By concupiscence, we mean the natural inclination in man to do evil. In every man, psychology, theology, philosophy, they talk about this. There is that natural concupiscence in man to do evil. It takes a fundamental option committed to the deity you worship to do good. And that is conscience. Conscience is that aspect of the human person that tells him to do good and not to do evil. You see? So if as a human being you have concupiscence, if you don't have a strong upbringing, a laissez-faire upbringing, your concupiscence can easily be worked on by somebody who has a stronger will, a negative one at that, who has a stronger will, and before you know it, you're following something that is bad. The last question, the family be an instrument in ensuring practice of freedom of religion as well as peace and harmony in Nigeria. And we said, by adopting principles of liberal approach in child upbringing and socialization. Thank you.
A round of applause for group one, family focus group. Thank you so much. All right. Now, so we go by the number. Group two, school focus group. A round of applause as the chair and secretary come forward. The school focus group, the chair and the secretary. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So we're supposed to look at the role of educational institutions in the promoting freedom of religion. So when you say the role, it means, sorry, all you're looking at is what they do right, what they do wrong, and of course after that we make some recommendations, and that's what we did. So we started with what they do wrong, Then we went to what they do right to promote freedom of religion. And then we came up with some recommendations. Little time, so many things to talk about, so many things to argue about, but then we managed to bring out something. And Secretary?
Thank you very much, sir. Standing on already established protocol, we discussed about those things educational institutions have done wrong. And one of those things we discovered in our discussion is that they have not addressed the curriculum properly. Some institutions have not been able to include West African traditional religion in the way the school should go, not at the exam level now. So we're able to discover that based on our own discussion. And we were able to discover that there is discrimination against other religions when it comes to issues of entrance into institutions, especially in some regions in the north. So some people give examples of people who were denied admission because of the kind of religion they do. Now, I will not be giving examples, but we know those institutions. Now, the next one is what they did not do right in cases of dress code and culture in some schools. Some schools did not give correct standard of dress code that accommodates every other person. And for every person, I believe we have an idea of the international school, Ibadan, and other schools that have issues of dress code. So we also discover that institutions do not allow, or some institutions misinterpret time for prayers. Some did not accommodate other people to pray, and there is no enough orientation on the limitation of freedom of religion in most of the schools. That's another thing some educational institutions are not doing right. So we go to, because of time, let me go to what they do right. Now, some institutions are able to allow time for prayers, especially in the higher institution. They give instances of schools that gives time for prayers for everybody. Though we still discover that in some institutions there are shortcomings for West African traditional religions. And again, we were able to discover that there is freedom of dressing in some institutions. We are also able, in our discussion, to discover that tolerance is growing higher compared to how it was in time past. We have examples of institutions like University of Ilorin into the play that 20 years ago to be admitted with some kind of names was more of a problem. So, but we discovered that it has changed, and that is what we are doing right now. So, for our recommendations, because of time. Okay, before I finish that, there are general rules now in schools, I don't know if you know about it, to guide the standard of conduct of everybody, irrespective of your religion. So we have, and there are choices of course, and the city arrangements in some courses as it is put in some schools. But presently we are seeing people missing out now compared to times in the past. But for our recommendations, we are able to put it that institutions should set standards to separate religion from the normal dealings of the school. So there should be standard. So anybody coming know that is coming to meet the standard. We have recommendation that dress code, issues of dress code, issue of discrimination should be abolished. Especially when it comes to entering into universities, you should not be admitted based on your religion or because of your name or because of anything you do. So the last one on our list is that people, okay, what we have here is that courses like religion and national values as it is in some states should be introduced to your state government, because at the moment Lagos state government has included sufficiently religion and national values for junior secondary schools to introduce everybody to what is African traditional religion, what is Christian religion, what is Islamic religion, not just giving them a bit of what they should know, but they should widen their knowledge at that level to be able to pick interest in West African traditional religion. So those are our recommendations. Okay, for the last one, we should be able to enlighten ourselves, like what we are doing here, and enlighten people of younger ages, especially from our primary schools, especially from the old primary school. We should be able to see how we can improve on our curriculum, and that's the whole essence of our discussion. So thank you for listening.
A round of applause for group 2. The focus on the academia. Before you go, any comment or question? Okay, one. Finally you.
Okay.
Hello. Good day, everybody.
To form the school curriculum, I think the family front, parents association should be included in formation of school curriculum. In sociology, we have 3 schools of thought. The home where we come from, the formal school that we go, then we go to the issue of peer pressure. I think peer pressure is the product of these 2 schools of thoughts. So if schools will design school curriculum, they should carry the parents along so that values will be uniform among their students. Nígbà tá à ń dẹ́gbà tí àwọn òbí wa bá ọ̀rẹ́ bàbá wa fún, if a friend of my father sees me somewhere around Somanda doing something very wrong, he will beat me to my father's house, and my father will thank him that 2 eyes on a child, ìgbà ojú 200 eyes will watch him or her. So the 2 schools of thought, the house and the formal school, they are very, very important to form a very healthy society. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. I think that would most likely be included in the decisions. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for group 2. So we'll bring up group 3 now. I noticed something, sir, Mr. Chairman and Secretary. Please let them stand together in front. Now, tell me the similarity between the 2 of them. A round of applause for this group. Thank you. So if there's an award for that kind of thing, they will get it. It's as simple as that. I told you to decide. You made the statement.
No, there is now. I was told there's an award for that.
There's an award for that. Okay.
And you will give it.
All right. Okay, so we go next to the 3rd group, the community focus group. Can we have the chair and the secretary for that particular group? A round of applause for them as they come forward.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Latif Akimode. I'm the coordinator of the group 3. I'm not the chairman, I'm the coordinator as a feminist. And our secretary is, our rapporteur is Oluwaseyi and Logun, and Sulaiman, Mr. Sulaiman, Onoyima, Akibeyi, Adejumo, Agesin, and Adeleke Bara. So those are the members of the focus group. So we are talking about the role of community in promoting or achieving freedom of religion. So our rapporteur will lead us now. So if there is anything, I will have to thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Oluwaseyi. Now I'm talking the community focus group, and some of the issues we identified are the lack of proper ideology. I just go through them and then I move to the recommendations. Lack of proper ideology. There's no enlightenment, intolerance, and then we have poor attitude, religious favoritism, lack of emotional intelligence, and amongst others. Now, just quickly move to things I would think are the solutions to some of the problems we have around us in the community. Now, first is an ideological change. There needs to be an ideological reorientation of the people. in the community. Take Nigeria, for instance, we have to look for a way to make sure that everyone in Nigeria has a reorientation of what the world is, of what religion is, of how individuals should be. That's so ideological reorientation from the community level to the religious level and moving on to the individual level. So then after that, we talked about a practical ideology shift where what we have identified as ideology can be practicalized. Instead of just leaving them in our books or in our minds, we can practicalize things that we have identified to be changed. Now, enforcement of those values, enforcement of those ideologies. Let us instill those values into the people and let us establish institutions that will ensure that these values are being entrenched and practiced. Also, we can set up committees, for instance, set up committees to ensure that their interfaith matters can be looked into and settled. Then advocacy. The leaders of communities should be looked onto for support. Their support should be solicited. Then knowledge, enlightenment. I think we've talked about that. A reorientation, a sensitization for the people. Now, tolerance is one of the major problems, and it's up to the people when they are re-enlightened, when they are reoriented, they will develop a new attitude towards other people of different faiths, different backgrounds, and of different wherever they are from. So it's explained that people tolerate one another in the community. Also, the use of language, and that comes out from emotional intelligence. A lot of people lack that emotional intelligence, and they don't know what to say and where and when to say them. They just come out, oh, this is this. And then one of the things, I think we identified something like that yesterday when we were talking about the X-Men. A lot of us just come out and say, Fulani X-Men. Let's be careful. We have to be careful of how we use our words. And then cohabitation. How can we live amongst ourselves in the society without fear, without discrimination, without favoritism, and understanding of the community background. If a new person is coming into a community, does that person know so much about that community they are going to? What knowledge do you have of that community they are going to? So, for instance, someone like Oluwase, myself, goes to a place like Sokoto State. I've never been there. I need to have an idea of what is going on in that state. What is the prevalent religion? What are the practices of those people? Where should I go and where should I not go? So it's very important to do that. Then we should allow things that unite us more than the ones that divide us. Point of convergence, we can create scenarios, situations that will bring us together rather than divide us. For instance, we can have social events. Even in our religious centers, we can create events, social events that will allow people of other faiths to join us in some of those centers. Religious favoritism should also be stopped, where people are given an advantage over the others because of their own faith or the similarity of their faith to whoever is given the favor. An attitude. We should always try to avoid conflict at all times. We should be good citizens of our country, of our community, or wherever we find ourselves, and also consider the attitude of the community where we find ourselves. Who are the people? What are they like? What is the exposure? And we need to put all of that into check. Then no coercion. There shouldn't be coercion. No one should be forced into believing what you believe. No one should be forced to believe what other people believe. They should have their own ideas. They should have their own beliefs. Now, in practical conflict situations, what is the need for freedom of religion? Is for dignity, so that each person can maintain their own dignity. That, okay, I am human, and this is what I believe. This is what I want, and no one has forced me into doing this. This is what I want, and I have that. In times of conflict, we can go into proper mediation. People who are peace ambassadors amongst us will understand that there is a need for proper mediation when in practical conflict situations, because apparently the people could not resolve the differences on their own. That was why it degenerated into conflict. So there's the need for a mediator or a group of mediators to come into play. And while that is going on, there shouldn't be ready-made solutions or textbook solutions, because each conflict is dynamic in its own way. So I can't come and say I want to resolve the conflict in Egbeda local government the same way I resolved conflict 5 years back in Kotagora local government. Those conflicts might be different. The scenarios will be different, and a lot of circumstances are different. So we can't approach conflict the same way. We have to go through we have to go afresh into conflict situations. So, so far so good. Okay, and then one thing we also noted is that all of what we have come here to do, talking about conflict, religious conflict, violence, interfaith, harmony, and all of that, it still boils down to the community. When the media fails, when everything, government fails, when politics fails, it affects the community as a whole. Religious conflict, religious violence still happens on the community level. So it still boils down in the end to the community. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Group 3, community focus group. Thank you so much. Do we have any? Okay, you have your recommendations written there. Please submit to him before you go. Thank you so much. A round of applause for this group. Okay, a quick announcement. You can request and suggest the ushers begin to spread this. 2 pieces of paper, or you write. The first thing I'm going to talk about on the flip side, it will be side A, and the other thing on the side B. You can start writing it now. What are your recommendations for Hamid regarding the topic of today? It's not impossible that you are not secretary or you are not chairman, or I did not recognize you. I apologize. Okay? So maybe from day 1 or today, please put in words your recommendations. What would you like to say about freedom of religion and how it can be entrenched in our society? Okay, so write it on the first side, side here. On the other side, how would you have preferred this conference to have held, these 2 events? Are there things we did well? Yeah, it's allowed. You can give us some accolades. Are there things we would have preferred that we do? Feel free to comment about the food too. It's allowed. Yeah, prefer. I didn't even start with the buy in the morning. Coffee and salad in the afternoon. A deep icon in the evening. You have every right to your opinion. Okay, so feel free, give us comments. How else would you have preferred us to hold this 2-day event? Or is it perfect? Are you cool with it? Let us know. Okay, so don't forget on side 1, comment as regards the topic, the theme, freedom of religion, the panacea for peace and harmony in Nigeria. Your own comments, your contributions. Okay, I believe the front sheet should be okay. And if it's not okay, ask for 1 sheet. An extra sheet is allowed. You can ask. Okay. On the other side, recommendations as regards how this event has held from day 1, the flow. What would you have preferred that we have done better? Would you have preferred a different venue? Would you have preferred to be served every hour? Whatever. And then, of course, the sessions. You can also have the session you enjoyed most, or one session that you have preferred that we didn't have. Maybe something that I said, should have brought somebody to come and talk about this particular thing, and we didn't talk about it. So that is for side 2. While that is going on, please let's welcome right here in front the chair and secretary for the Mass Media Focus Group. A round of applause for them as they come forward for the presentation. Mass Media Focus Group. Please, a round of applause for them now. Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, everyone. we are representing Group 4, which is a mass media group, or the role of mass media and the freedom of religion. So my name is Adiwale Ajola, and my second person we'll be presenting is Baba Sheyi Bisola. So as you know, mass media comprises everything that we'll be discussing. Is the only mass media that can help amplify it to the world. So what we'll be discussing is just in few words about the role of mass media, which is very, very critical, very, very important in our discussion today. Everything we are doing here today, if they did not promote it online, there is no how people, even outside Nigeria, in any country in the whole world, can see that an activities of 2 days happen here. So in everything, mass media, the role of online engagement is very, very critical and important. So over to my able secretary.
Good afternoon all. We talked about the role of mass media in promotion and propagation of freedom of religion. First of all, the first thing we need to do is to avoid false publication, especially online. We must make sure that every publication posted online must be verified. And somebody in our group gave an example which seems very funny. Some people will just look at a post, read the first 3 lines of the headline and just send it. Start sending it to everybody, post it online. It's very, very wrong. We must read something, we must read it through, we must verify it, and we must post. And when posting, we must make sure it is not offensive. It must be able to create a diplomatic peace between people. Okay? We also talk about abstinence from being biased by social media, by media platforms. Being biased by media platforms. Some platform, due to the head of the platform is a particular religion, would try to prevent other religions from moving forward, from propagating their own point of view, which is very wrong. We must make sure that we allow all religions, all sects, to allow them to freely disseminate their information as far as it is not going to be injurious, affect other people. Okay? We also talk about media as a practitioner should not be tampered, destroyed from, and they should allow them to do their jobs, because due to the head, let's say a publisher or something, due to the head will not allow him to publicize true information because of his own personal gain. We must allow this information to be properly vetted and publicized to the community. Okay? We also talked about shooting and sending of messages to all sundry for the question to know the ways evil is being penetrated in the society, e.g. Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. We talked about that we must be able to sensitize the community in which people, in the way which people are using religion as a yardstick to do evil. Because the truth of the matter, let us be very sincere and say every religion have, when we look at it critically, we can see some negative aspects which some people have materialized on to use it to do evil. Like we can see whereby, although I'm not going to mention any religion, but we can see religions which things have been verified, we can see people doing evil all in the name of religion. Because we in Africans, especially Nigerians, we are very, very religious people. We are very, very religious people. We believe in our religion so much that sometimes we can see the facts, but due to our religious beliefs, we will take our religious beliefs better than that fact. We take our religion very, very personal. If you see someone from the Islamic, from the religion, from the Christian, if you some of them, when they even talk, you'll be like, I've not seen this type of conviction. So we talk about that. We should make sure our conviction is very standard. Also, finally, talk about government. The government also has a role to play in this religion, because the government must be able to checkmate everything, both positive and negative side of the religion. Thank you.
A round of applause for Group 4, Mass Media Focus Group. Do you have any questions for them? Okay, please, you can have your seat. Finally, private and public focus group. I know there's a Group 6. Okay. So, but group 5 now, the chair and secretary is the penultimate group, second to the last. Private public focus group. A round of applause for Mr. Chairman and the secretary. But please let's manage time. Mr. Chairman, sir.
My name is Emmanuel Ajewumi. We are representing the public and private sectors. And the secretary is Jado Emmanuel, who is going to give us the recommendations. We are not going to bore you with so many, but we have summarized everything concerning the public and private sectors. How to maintain peace among the religious faithfuls.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jato Emmanuel, and this is the summary of our recommendation as a group. Our work is to look at the roles of public and private sectors in fostering freedom of religion. We believe that religion is a personal conviction and relationship with the supernatural, and because of this, we resolve that in public and private sectors, the following should be done in order to foster peace and avoid religious crisis. Number one, people should be respected according to their faith in both public and private sector. Private organizations and private organization owners should treat people equally, irrespective of their religious inclinations. Everybody must be employed, not because they are a Christian or Muslim or because they are traditionalist, but they should be employed because they are qualified for it. The third point, there should be no favoritism or discrimination in both public and private sectors. Number four, people should endeavor to know the religious inclinations of a job before taking it. Now, what we hinted at here is the fact that you should understand, just like Mr. Sheyi pointed out the other time about traveling to Sokoto, that he needs to understand the terrain, the religious belief system that is dominant in that place, so as to know how to coordinate it or herself in a way, himself actually, in a way that will not cause religious conflict. So the same thing we believe should obtain in sectors, in working sectors, private and public sectors. People should take note of the environment, and they should, before even venturing into such environment, they should know what is obtainable. Then the next one, we talk about people should, private and public sectors, that's number 5. Private and public sectors should not discriminate in terms of dressing. Dressing in all sectors should be strictly, there should not be a discrimination. There should not be a dress code for a particular religion, leaving the other religion outside. Everything should be uniform. If you want a particular dress code, it should obtain for everybody from each religion, traditional Christian and the Islam. There should be love and inclusiveness in all sectors. That's number 6. Then number 7, Federal Character Commission should be active. In this country, we have Federal Character Commission that dictates how things should be shared equally. We have Federal Character that expatiates on how things should be done without discrimination against people based on religion, race, or based on religion or ethnic group. And this, we believe that if this thing is being actively done, if the federal character dictates are actively being carried out, there will be less crisis, including religious crisis. Then there should be love, okay. Then there should be flexibility and tolerance for the employees to cope in any religious setting. What we mean by this is that in every situation, employees should also be able to cope with situations. We gave in the discussion, somebody gave, Mr. Sheikh actually made an observation that he is a cameraman by profession, and it will not, because he's a Christian, go to a Muslim setting where they are having a Muslim gathering and go there and say he cannot film the place, he cannot cover the event because he is a Muslim or because he's a Christian. So for us as individuals, we should also understand that it is ethical in our job, in our work system, that we should not, because of our religious inclination, deny people of our services as professionals. Then we say for organizations like NURTW, there should be caution in the use of languages and avoidance of language that can cause religious conflict. NURTW, National Union of Road Transport Workers, they are a major sector that interface with the public, and many of the conflicts can actually be generated by inappropriate use of words. So we are encouraging and we are making recommendations that people should be, in all sectors, should be cautious of how they use words that could cause religious conflicts. Government should stop inciting or using any group for political motives in a way that could cause conflict. For whatever role government wants to use any group to play, they should always be cautious of the fact that if they are not used well, conflicts might emerge. Greetings in workplaces should be official and not religious. Everybody should be greeted in workplace. Your greetings and languages should be official languages and not religious languages. Government should find quick and lasting solutions to religious crises, especially in public sector. Mr. Sheyi, the previous the secretary for Group 3, noted the fact that there are some conflict situations where you need the help of experts. So what we are saying is that government should be very quick in nipping at the bud every form of or every element of religious crisis. Once it is noted that this is actually a crisis and it can generate into something big, they should quickly nip it in the bud. If they don't have the apparatus, they can secure the work, or they can secure the service of a professional or expert in field of mediation and conciliation. Then then the last one I have here is teaching of religious studies in school should be at the same level. What we mean by same level is equal level. And curriculum should accommodate all religion, Christian, Islam, traditional. Every religion should be accommodated in the curriculum, and every subject should be taught equally without any bias to any of the disciplines. Thank you so much for listening.
A round of applause for Group 5. They just explained to us the role of the private and public sector in ensuring freedom of religion. I'm sure we have Facebook lovers here. Are you aware that this program is being streamed live on Facebook? Yes. www.facebook.com/takingallmenbrethren. So you can share so that people see your face. Okay? Those who are wondering where have you been since yesterday, go on Facebook, like the page, and share it right now. In fact, I just got that I'm saying it now, and I'll be on Facebook like that. Okay, I like that. So please go ahead, share it, tag yourself, tag organizations that you like to know. TAMED can do with some funding, so you can tag some organizations that will be good, probably with funding and all that. Of course, that is Facebook. And like I said, it is live, so you can follow the event. Very good. So, the last but not the least, they'll be telling us the role of religious leaders in ensuring freedom of religion. A round of applause for the chair and secretary of Group 6. Wow, I love this. A round of applause for them. You are not seeing what I'm saying. So finally, we have a group that allows women to present. Please jam your hands together for them. Madam Chair. She said there'd be an award for this.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Our group is going to talk about the role of leadership and what contributions to freedom of religion leaders are supposed to make. We all know that everything rises and falls with leadership, and it's essential, very, very important that those people we call leaders are taught, are led, are educated, are informed about what good leaders are supposed to do, especially when it comes to religion. I know some of you will know that in the past, many people have been killed by their own religious leaders. They've been even up till now, about a few weeks ago, I've seen that some leaders have asked their members to take gin and detour to drink it. That is the effect of leadership. And that is what we are going to be talking about, because leadership contribution to freedom of religion is going to go a long way in consolidating everything we have been talking from group 1 to group 7. And I want you to listen very attentively as our secretary, our able secretary, takes on some of this role. My name is Victoria Afolabi. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. My name is Olashe Fumi, Secretary of Group 6. And as you said earlier, we'll be talking about the role of religious leader and what should be their contribution to the freedom of religion. We are having two subtopics. The one is, what should be their contribution to the freedom of religion? Firstly, we are saying religious leaders should know their faith. They should let the people under their faith know what they stand for and remove any heart of bias. They should let people know what they stand for, what they preach, and what they represent, and remove any form of bias. Religious leaders should not adore the rich people, ignoring the fact that they should be teach the heart of peace with no form of bias. They should not adore the rich people. They should not ignore the poor people. They should take everyone together and teach them the act of freedom. Number 3, we said leaders ought to live in line with what they are preaching, knowing that they are the representative of God. We said earlier on in the group that leaders should live in line with their message. They should let their day-to-day life, they should let their everyday life be in line with what they are preaching. If we are standing for peace in religion, we should let our life stand for peace in religion. And we also said we should always speak objectively. Wherever we are in public, leaders should always speak objectively. Yeah, we also said leaders should always speak objectively when we are in public, knowing we all brought and raised from different levels. We should not judge anyone according to their beliefs, according to their religion, according to what they serve. We should judge everyone objectively, we should speak objectively, and we should relate to each other religion, knowing no religion is superior or inferior to each other. We should relate with everyone with love and peace, knowing that Christian is not superior to Muslim, neither Muslim is superior to traditionalists. We should relate with everyone with peace and with love. And we also say that leaders have to look at certain fundamental issues. The whole of religion leaders should pay more attention to salvation rather than material things. We should all pay attention to salvation. We should all let what we are preaching, what we are doing is equal to salvation rather than material things, rather than cars, houses, or everything. We should let our gaze be on salvation. And we also say that leaders should preach to their fellows about freedom of religion. Let not them say that who practice other religion are inferior or superior to other ones. Leaders should teach and talk on how there should be religious tolerance for everybody. So far, other practice differently does not mean they are wrong or right. As a leader, we are ought to teach everyone. We are ought to tolerate everyone. So far, others are practicing Muslim, or they are traditionalists, or they are Christian. Doesn't mean so far I'm a Christian doesn't mean I'm superior or I'm right or I'm wrong. So far others are traditionalists doesn't mean they are wrong or they are right. We should tolerate everyone with love and with peace. And to be a good leader, we should also be knowledgeable and properly informed. To be a leader, we should be knowledgeable, we should live by examples, we should attend seminars such as TAME. And we also say we should not influence people in a way, we should not influence people in a way that people will feel or we should accept our religion by force. We should not influence people wrongly. We should not talk wrongly to make others feel like what they are doing, what their belief is wrong or right. We should not influence them badly. We should let them know what they believe is right, either is right or wrong. We should not stand in place of God to judge. We should accept everyone with love and peace. And lastly, on what leaders need to do, we said leaders should also be trained and lead by examples. I've said that earlier on. As a leaders, we have to be led by examples. We should let our everyday life influence in what we are doing. We should let people see us and be able to emulate our day-to-day lives. So lastly, we also talk about roles of religious leaders in promoting religious freedom. Number one here, we said religious leaders should allow intermarriage. We should not be biased by saying our Christian son or Christian daughter should not marry a Muslim brother or a Muslim sister or a traditionalist. We should allow intermarriage. We should promote intermarriage. And we also say leaders should stop discriminating. We should not discriminate anyone, either they are a Muslim or a Christian. We should not discriminate. And they should start elevating one religion to another. They should not put one religion over the other one. They should stop elevating one religion to another. And second to the last year, we said we should engage everyone on religion education. We should let everyone have a religion education so they can learn, they can know the purpose and reasons for religion, not to fight, not for war, not for terrorism, but for peace and love and growth. And lastly here, we said they should stop persecuting people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions for them? Religious leaders. Okay. You are afraid of them. That's interesting. That will go down on record. People now being afraid of women. But please a round of applause for that group.